Alright guys, today I know I got a whole bunch of people to come in and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I said, hey, I'm going to do the signing and the numbering of Badger 2 and blah blah blah, can you please subscribe? And then it's been like 2 weeks and I've just been sitting here not really doing anything. Well, that's not true, I just haven't been uploading anything. Here's the story behind it. Badger 2 is being printed. I get my books done at a university local to here, and like a jackass, I scheduled the launch of Badger 2 to be in late August, and then lo and behold, come early September, all the university students need to get their ducks in a row and their print orders in, so I kind of timed it poorly, and there are priorities above me, so it's going to be a couple extra minutes. I'd say it's going to be at least another week before Badger 2 is freely available in print. Those of you that pre-ordered Badger 2 have already got a chance to look at the PDF files. So like the book is finished and it's out there. And if you want to get your pre-order in for one of the first 25 copies of Badger 2, which are going to be signed and numbered, that's $25. Let me know. I'll get your name on a list and I'll send you a PDF copy of what I have finished so far. I think I have 14 of those left that aren't already pre-accounted for right now. But those of you that have seen that PDF of Badger 2 are going to be a little bit familiar with the work of Mike Seers. He did my cover for Badger 2. He graciously gave me permission to reprint that Joe the Janitor story that you find at the back. And he's a really good friend. I met Mike Seers through a Facebook group for indie and underground comic book creators, publishers. I'm in like 30 of them. And that's where I found Mike. And this project really, really caught my attention. It's very, even inside the indie circuit, you're going to see a lot of people trying to emulate superheroes, and they're talking about like just all this world building and universes, and it's insane. It's insane. I can't think of a good word for it, but it's just an emulation of stuff that you already see on the market left and right. And then there are a few projects, and I'm hoping I'm going to show you guys some more of those too, but Rabbit Man here is one of my all-time favorites. Very 90s style underground. I think, and Mike, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, the majority, if not all, of the, what is it, like 200 and something pages of the first 5 parts to Rabbit Man is all Sharpie on copy paper. It's mostly black and white, and it just has this really classic underground feel to it. The story's also just straight up absurd. Like, I love it. It's we've got Rabbit Man here. He's a 7-year-old boy who is met with the harbinger for the hero's journey kind of tale, where someone approaches him and, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope. And he's like, he's trying to go to bed, right? Like 7-year-old kid in rabbit pajamas. Shortly after that initial call to action, Rabbit Man gets kicked out of his house. So he's a 7-year-old boy in rabbit pajamas, stuck to face the cold world of the post-apocalypse. It never says clearly where it's set, but I was always under the impression that it's somewhere in the middle southern United States. I don't know why. I think it's the landscape. Feels very Arizona, deserty. So I've been talking about the character of Rabbit Man since I started here, and that's not even the thing that I'm drawing. Right now, I think in this video, I'm using a Yeah, that's not a Winsor Newton inking brush, but it's some sort of a close approximation of it. And as always, the actual ink well is Speedball Super Black, the one with the varnish in it. So I'm here working on this zombie lady who's driving the scooter. Zombie Lady is the first character that shows up to kind of give Rabbit Man a hand. So he's not twisting the wind, but she has her own little agenda related to him. I'm not going to sit here for 25 minutes. Like, I will get silent before I'll sit here for 25 minutes and ruin the whole story for you guys. But she does turn out to be a friend. Yeah. Our zombie lady companion here, of questionable morals. And then that guy up there with the rifle is a cocaine addicted clown. Mike did my cover for Badger 2, and how it came about was I was working on the cover for Awful Thoughts 3 by Keyngdom Comics. That actually just launched, available for pre-order yesterday, I think it was. So you can go, and I'll put links in the bottom of the description of the video. You can go and check that out if you want to. But I was doing the cover for Awful Thoughts 3, and there was some part of it that I was working on. It was either that or it was after it was completed. I think it was after it was completed. I showed Mike, and his response was along the lines of, "Oh man, that's awesome. I want you to do a cover for me too." So this is the alternate cover for Rabbit Man 3, based off of one that he already did. So when he said that, he said he wanted me to do a cover for him, my first thought was, well, that's quite the awesome coincidence, because I've been wanting to do something, just absolutely anything, with Mike for a couple months at that point. Like, I know Mike does, outside of Rabbit Man, he's got a couple of different comic series. Like I said, you guys that have Badger 2 have already seen Joe the Janitor, and he also does some video game design and development. Busy guy. So I'm hoping that I'm going to get the opportunity to work with Mike more over the years to come. Great guy. Really, really unique mind. Awesome imagination. I love how simple Rabbit Man's character design is too. He's really fun and really easy to draw. See, I spin the page a lot more when I'm working with the brush. It's kind of the advantage to doing that. Like, I don't know, I'm super mindful about not moving the page around too much when I'm doing the live stream. It's also because I'm splitting my concentration between my phone screen to answer comments and stuff instead of just focusing on drawing. It's always good to orient the page so that your brush strokes are arcing out and away from your hand instead of in towards you. It just gives you a better consistent line. Look at that. I just did the exact opposite of what I said. More guidelines than rules. So love that Rabbit Man's little shotguns just like jerry rigged together. I don't think the story ever covers a really clear reason for that, but it's just a nice little, like the clown's rifle is way more refined and detailed. It's just funny to me. It's another great thing about the Rabbit Man story, and the way that Mike presents it is, despite the fact that it's anxiety incarnate. Like, that's clearly what he was going for, but it does have a really awesome sense of charm and, like, I don't know. There's just great humor to it. What was this where I switch pens? I think this is where I think about switching pens. It's been a couple weeks since I actually did this. I think I might have stepped out of the room once or twice. It's probably something I should edit out. We'll see if I do. Oh, still just going with that brush. I was actually pretty happy with the way that rifle turned out. I know a lot of the people I collaborate with, a lot of the people that I network with that do other cartoons and comic books and stuff like that, they're the majority of them. They're all American, from the U.S. Like Mike, I think is currently in Colorado, and it's just funny to me. Like, I never went to whatever school everybody seems to have gone to for drawing guns. It just hasn't been a huge priority of mine. So I'm pleasantly surprised with how that rifle turned out. Because firearms is definitely not my forte. It's not something I draw a lot. Those hesitations when I put my wrist down are from like the super black ink, and part of the reason why I love it is that it dries really fast. It's pretty much an ideal medium for cartoonists or people who draw real quick. So I put my wrist down like lightly and then just check to see if I can feel the ink lifting, because despite how quickly it dries, I have been known to smear my own stuff. I always try to avoid that. There we go. That is also speedball. It's a 512 spoon nib. That one actually might be a 513. There's not too big of a difference between the two of them. Still just dipping in inkwell. I find that using the different line weights, like a heavier brush for the stuff that's supposed to be the focus of the image, and then using smaller nib pens and lighter brushes for stuff that's like more in the background or less the focus of the overall thing, just gives it a better sense of depth. And I'm hoping that that's going to be more apparent when I do the monster on the right hand side of this cover here in a minute. Yeah, this should give you a better idea of what I mean by that. So for those of you that haven't used one of these nib pens before, the really cool advantage to them is just the way that like the pen nib itself works. It's split at the tip. So when you go to press down on the metal at the end, it actually, the tip actually separates. And the amount of pressure that you put on it allows you to control how wide your ink line comes out. So you can actually manipulate it a lot of the same way that you would with a brush. It adds, in my opinion, a lot more interest to your lines than using like a ballpoint or a technical pen. It has a lot more versatility. Yeah, you can see that sense of distance there with the monster on the right hand side, where it seems like he's further back because his line's thinner. A couple of these stills are for me taking a minute to step back, look at the whole thing, and think about what I'm going to do next or what tool I'm going to use next. There's the tiniest of my dip pens, my Hunt 102. I think I just had a moment there where I decided I need to bump up the contrast a little bit at the back because that heavy line makes such a big difference in the center focus of the page. It felt a little too plain. Now we're back to the technical pen, just for the lettering, so that it doesn't pull too much focus. Keep that line weight consistent. So there we have my alternative cover to Rabbit Man 3 by Mike Seers. I'll put a link in the description of this video that's going to allow you to go through and read all of Rabbit Man. I highly recommend doing so. If you guys like videos of drawing and guys talking about their drawing, then please subscribe to this channel. I'm going to do a lot more stuff like this. There's a couple other things I mentioned. Awful Thoughts 3, that's available for pre-order from Keyngdom Comics. Keyngdom Comics. Keyngdom. And as far as the Badger 2 launch goes, that's right around the corner. You guys are going to see that in the next week or two. I'm still accepting pre-orders for that. There's 14 copies of the first 25 for $25. Those are all going to be signed and numbered. Just message me, let me know, and I will get one on hold for you. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming to watch. Bye.